Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. Yes, everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. Connor and Brownie back with the West Ham United preview. Well, not a preview, really. We're talking about three things that we learned last time out when we last played against West Ham. How you doing, Brownie? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. It's day 304,000 whatever without a haircut, but yeah, fine.
Oh, mate, it's bleak, isn't it? It is absolutely bleak. Not yours. I mean, just everyone's in general.
Oh, mine is, mate. Mine is.
Yeah, it is difficult at the minute, mate. It is difficult. As I say, hope everybody is doing really well. Evening all, says Adam. Cock unlikely to be available till April, maybe last week in March. He'll just be running a while before he can kick a ball. Do not give a free kick away. So I guess the premise of this video, mate, is to talk about the last time we played the Hammers. Generally, Brownie, what did you sort of think of West Ham last time they came to Welland Road?
I was quite surprised, to be fair, because they surprised me. Obviously, last season they were down near the bottom, calling for voiding it and everything. I bet they wouldn't call for voiding it this season because they've been brilliant, and I think they've got better in the last few weeks, and I'm sure we'll touch on it in the preview. That bodes well for the game, doesn't it? That I think they've got better after beating us. But I think it could work into our favour a little bit, and I'll explain why as we get into it. It could have been 4 or 5 looking back at the West Ham game at Elland Road. They hit the post. Balbuena had a header where Meslier unbelievably pulled off a world-class save in that game. But then at the end of it, Rodrigo could have snatched a draw, could have got a 2-2 draw of it. If you remember, Rodrigo had a header really late on. But as the game went on, I think they deserved to win that game.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think you bang on. It was a game, once again, where it was sort of welcome to the Premier League a little bit, I thought in certain aspects we were schooled a little bit. We really struggled. And Brownie in that game as well, obviously, before we get into the three things, you know, we had a relatively strong team to what we had now, you know, the likes of Rodrigo, Phillips.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like you say, we got schooled. I mean, I think, is it the only time we've gone ahead in a game and then lost?
Yeah, I think it is.
And like you say, schooled is a very good word for the game.
Yeah, definitely. No, let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Should have listened to Agbonlord and signed Jesse Lingard as a Calvin backup. I don't know about that, mate. They're completely different positions, but there we go. Gamer Guy Ethan says, we're not good in London, Connor. Brownie, let's touch on it, mate. The London curse. And whilst you go on, I'm just going to move my light over here so it doesn't look like I'm in Blackpool Illuminations.
You look fine, mate. Look fine. You're glowing.
You look all right, yeah?
Yeah, you look glowing, mate.
All right, go on then.
I'll put a t-shirt on there.
Yeah, no, I always put a hoodie on.
No, I'm going to say, why have you come on topless? But yeah, as for West Ham and the Lingard comment just then, I think that's going to come into why I think they've got better. However, I do believe it'll play into our favour. I don't know if that's the head speaking or the heart speaking. But as for London, crikey, don't know. I don't know what to say on it. I mean,
is it a thing? Is it a thing?
Yeah, it's got to be. We've won one game since 2017. One. We've been there, 16, 17 times. And I think before that, we hadn't won there for a couple of years before that either. So what we're looking at, 2 games we've won in 5-6 years there. Can't be a coincidence. There's got to be something in it. So whatever we've been doing, we need to rip it up and just let them have a night out. Have a night out in London, lads, before just do something different.
I
All
saw
that.
that on Under the Cosh actually. I was listening to something on Under the Cosh, and it was Alex Bruce talking about his I think the Sheffield Wednesday, and Paul Sturrock, they had a massive game coming up, and Paul Sturrock said, "Right, lads, I've loved what you've done this year, but before the game, I'm going to let you go on a night out. I'm going to let you go on a night out." And they played Hull the next day and beat Hull 3-0. And I thought to myself that could work, but it could go in the complete opposite direction as well.
It's one of them where if it don't work, you get slaughtered for letting them do it. But it's just that camaraderie and building team spirit. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need team spirit. I'm just saying the whole London thing. There's something. It's a psychological thing now. I think even that we speak about it, the players will speak about it. The players know it's in the back of their mind. I've seen you see them. Was it Dallas in the summer where he posted no wins in London, no problem and stuff like that. They know it. They play on it as well. So,
but when you think that was a motivation,
yeah, it can work that way, but it can work the other way as well. As it's you can be almost defeated before you even start, type of thing. Like here we go again. But yeah, getting on to West Ham. First thing for me is I thought it was another game where Cooper pocketed Haller. Obviously, he's moved on now, which is what I'm going to move on to. It's Antonio up top now, which is completely different, and I think that's what's made them better. He just holds the ball up much better, and they've brought in Lingard, which allows them to have runners. So they've been having combinations of Fornals and Lingard and Bowen, Benrahma. They've got them diminutive players that have been coming into the game more because Antonio's been holding the ball up more. So that point for me is why I think they've got better. However, it's left them more open. The games aren't tight anymore. They've gone to Palace. It was 3-2. Because they're more attacking. Like I've been watching the West Ham games, and the goal against Man City, they had 5 players in the box. Now it's not like we were used to West Ham being tight set pieces. They've gone to Anfield and scored. They went to Sheffield. They played Sheffield United, scored 3. Villa, they went and scored 3. They've been going to games and really blowing teams away by their attacking players. They've been more attack-minded, which has left the middle of the pitch wide open a little bit more, which is why I think West Ham are better. But on the flip side, if the game's more open like a basketball match, that suits us down to the ground.
Yeah, and obviously we've got the London Stadium. Do you know what, Brownie? I kind of wish it was full because I think there's more pressure on them especially when there's 60,000 West Ham fans there who have notoriously not been happy at the London Stadium. And I think that's probably been the reason why they've been able to flourish a little bit, isn't it? Just the fact that Moyes has been able to implement whatever he wants, whenever he wants, really.
Definitely, and I mean we've touched on in the last few weeks teams struggling without having fans. I think it's like you say, it's the opposite for West Ham. There was all that unrest. I remember the summer when they sold Diangana. There was absolute uproar that they were selling Diangana. I mean, look at them now. They brought in Benrahma. I just think with West Ham down the years, they've always had an issue with Gold and Sullivan or the manager. It's a bit like a Newcastle feel with Mike Ashley. They've had that unsavoury taste towards the owners. And with this season, with no fans, they haven't had that, the players. They've had no pressure on them. They've just been able to go out and play. And I mean, they were sat in the Champions League spots. I'm not sure if they've dropped out of it in the last few days or whatever. There's been that many games, but they're in and around the Champions League talk. This time last year, they were in the bottom 3, bottom 4.
So with regards to what you were talking about there, with them being more open and stuff like that, and what I wanted to come on with that point as well, Brownie, do you think it'll help as well? Because just the pitch at the London Stadium, not only has it not got potholes in, but like ours, but it's a massive pitch, isn't it? It's one of the biggest in the Premier League.
It's very open, and like I was saying, it's a positive for West Ham that they've got more runners and they've got more players linking up off Antonio, and he can hold the ball. But on the opposite side, it has left them more open a bit. And it's interesting, the only recent game where they've drawn a blank was at Fulham, 0-0. And they packed the midfield, did Fulham. They didn't allow them to have the runners. They just packed the midfield and they played Cavaliero up top on his own and just packed the rest of it out. And we'll touch on set pieces in a second because obviously West Ham, they've scored the most set pieces in the league. It's fact. They've got Souček, they've got great delivery from Creswell. They've got Diop, at Bonga, knocking them in. Even Dawson's been popping up with some recently. I think in the last few games, they scored 2 at Palace, 1 against Liverpool. There was another one that escapes me. Who did they play? Sheffield United, another one they scored. But on the flip side, because they are more open, teams are getting more chances against them. They are creating more chances, and there's more areas on the pitch to get deliveries in because they've become a little bit more vulnerable to crosses into the box. The Man City game at the weekend, they were both from crosses, Diaz and Stones, a pullback. The Tottenham goal, Lucas Moura, header, it was another cross. I watched the Sheffield United game. They could have gone ahead before West Ham scored from a corner. So because they've looked to get in these link-up players like Ben Rama and Lingard and Fornals and Lanzini, they've took a little bit of their height out of the team, if that makes sense. So they've still got the big hitters on the pitch when it's a dead ball, but in open play, they've left them a little bit more open.
Yeah, I think it was key as well. The last time they Kentwell Road, they sort of, because I think it was Masuaku who was actually injured on the left, so they reverted to a 4-2-3-1. And since then, I mean, obviously Souček and Rice in the middle have been absolutely superb, and they've really taken on a different level, haven't they?
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say. We the goal at Man City. They had 5 players in the box, and they've scored a few at Villa where they've been breaking, and they've had 4 up in an attack. And like you say, they've got Rice sitting with Souček and a 3 behind him, and then they've just let the others just go and play. It's sort of like they're playing two. It's like an American football defense and the offense. They're sort of we'll sit here, you just go and play, which has made them look more attractive, and they're scoring more goals. But they are conceding a few more as well now. Like Palace scored a couple, Villa scored. Teams are now getting more joy against them, but they're playing better, if that makes sense.
So if you're Leeds, obviously with what you just said as that sort of first point, what do we do? Because how you look at it, Leeds are always open and expansive. So do we just go there and play our own game again?
I think it can work into our favour a lot more, a bit like Leicester when we kept hitting them on the break, because they're going to be trying to flood us forward, and they've been trying to press a bit higher with West Ham as well with Lingard and Ben Rama. They've been trying to win the ball high up. So if they're doing that, that's leaving space the other end. And that's just what I was trying to say with them leaving themselves a little bit more exposed. Teams are finding pockets. I think the West Ham goal, the one they conceded to Villa when Watkins scored, it started with Martinez. Martinez passed it to Mings, another straight through ball, and then another straight through ball. Within three straight passes had scored. It's because they were a little bit more open and expansive.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, a few of your guys' comments. The London curse surely is a factor. A lot of people talking about what we need to do. Arsenal for life says, come on, Leeds. Thanks for that. We've got Philip Anderson says, just can't wait until these boys get back from injury. Gaetano, Brad, and Forshaw, Robin Koch, Rodrigo and KP. And I saw something the other day. I actually thought we'd be higher. But it was a table. I think it was LUFC Data once again doing some fantastic work and basically saying that Leeds have got 8 injuries now out of our starting sort of squad, and that puts us 4th or 5th, I think. And what people don't contextualise with that, all the teams in and around us have these injuries. Liverpool, I think Man City have got a fair few. Leicester have got a hell of a lot, but the difference is the depth. And with what Philip was just saying there, with our depth, we go to the 23s. Our bench is packed out with no disrespect. Cresswell, Casey, Davis, Gelhard. When you look at someone like, even like a Villa the other day when they had Samson on the bench and Ross Barkley on the bench, it's completely different us having that. I mean, it was Sheffield United as well. We're up there. Fair play to them. And I think that's our only real comparative in terms of squad depth and quality, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you just mentioned that. I mean, the combinations I've been talking about with West Ham, obviously Ben Rama, Fornals, Lingard, Bowen, they can't all play. So 2 of them will play, then that means the other 2 are on the bench. Yeah. So it's just contextualising it, where that's what we're up against. It's our first season in the Premier League, so that's when we get carried away. That's when we need to rein ourselves in and think, well, hang on, look at our bench in comparison to other teams' benches.
Yeah, I think Mick and Louis are having a sort of a payoff here. But Mick and Louis, thank you so much for your donations. It means a lot. Brownie, point number 2.
Well, I sort of like linked 1 and 2 into each other there. With they've been more progressive attacking wise for them going forward. So like they've been scoring more goals, they've got more runners going off Antonio. But the second point was kind of the other way. They've left more rooms for us to exploit. So touching on that from a Leeds perspective, you look at the likes of Rafinha or Harrison or Costa, whoever he goes with, Roberts, there'd be more pockets for them to pick up the ball because they have got Lingard bombing on, they have got Fornells or Benrahma bombing on, they have got Souček. He's been making lots of late runs. I know he sits with Rice, but Souček, the amount of times he breaks into the box late on, he scored at Villa late. He always seems to be the one bombing on as well, where Rice just completely sits. So they might bomb up that way. So for us, it's doing the same to them. I feel like it could be a basketball match. I really do.
Yeah, and I think there's something to say about that as well, Brownie, because they're the home team, and we've seen with, for example, Aston Villa, a sort of a perfect example of it, really. Villa were the home team, and they played against Leeds United, and it's almost a pride thing, and I think it should be a pride thing in the Premier League because you've got Bielsa, you've got Leeds, but the fundamentals of it are you're a Premier League team, you've been a Premier League team for a long time now, you're getting a newly promoted team who's coming down to your patch in an area where they don't notoriously do well. And you're going to turn around and say, yeah, we're going to go at Leeds. And I think, as I said at the start, Villa sort of took that perspective and then they came to Ellen Road, they learned and they did a sort of job on us a little bit. And it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not West Ham adopt that same philosophy as well. You've come to our patch now and we're going to go at you and we're going to play you on the footballing sphere as well.
Definitely. And I think we will see a lot of the ball. But when we think back to the Palace game at home where we were allowed to just pass, and there was no real pressure, the players West Ham have got, they have been looking to pinch it high up the pitch with the Lingards and the Benrahmas and the Bowens. They are players that are on the front foot. They will look to break us down higher up, which does leave the space in behind. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they are at home, so the onus is on them a little bit. But you've seen with Leeds in the last 2 or 3 years on Bielsa, whoever we play, we look to dominate the game, don't we? So that's why I think they'll try dominate it. We'll try dominate it, which I think can leave it wide open.
Yeah. Ethan, all Leeds, aren't we? Says, one thing to note is West Ham are second in the home form table. That may affect the game. And listen, there's no bones around it, really. West Ham are in absolute phenomenal shape at this moment in time. I mean, I would say the depth, I know we're talking about going forward, but I do think when you make one change to that West Ham side, it's not, I don't think they have as much depth as other sides off the bench. But at the same time, I think, there's different levels of depth. They might have a, I don't know, just for argument's sake, a Masuaku on the bench. We might have a, with all respect, a Davis or a Davis or a Charlie Cresswell on the bench. And I think even when West Ham fans are saying we don't have depth, they do have depth. They still have that Premier League depth, don't they?
Oh, yeah, like we've said just then, Benrahma, Bowen, Fornells, Lingard, Antonio, they can't all play. So some of them are going to be on the bench. So to say they haven't got depth in comparison, nah, they have.
And I think it's interesting to say as well, Brownie. Last time they came to Ellen Road, they didn't have Antonio, and they still got the job done, which is massive. Yeah. He's sort of the main man, isn't he, at the minute?
Yeah, which is why I said I think this time they'll be better. Which is because obviously I think Antonio's offers more than Haller. Obviously that's why they've moved Haller on.
Yeah,
obviously Antonio's a completely different kettle of fish type of thing, and he's a different striker. He'll be strong, he'll hold it. Cooper maybe might not win all the aerial battles with him. It's what we do with second balls for me. Obviously with Haller, he was a bit half-assed a lot of the time, wasn't he? He didn't really produce what he did in Germany. Whereas Antonio, he likes to put himself about. He'll run the channels. He'll hold it. Yeah. It's what got him into the England squad at one point. He got into the England squad, didn't he? So.
Brownie, I don't think I ever realised in the Premier League, and I think it's a massive factor. I think it could be number one. Actually, it's the second balls. The second balls in this division. I think especially when it's against Leeds because of how many men we push forward, how open it is in the middle. The second balls, I sort of noticed it against Aston Villa for the first part. Really, I thought there was a lot of second ball pickups from Aston Villa. And I think you notice that in the Premier League, don't you? We were talking earlier on about in the previous stream about how you win the midfield battle, you win the game. Well, you also win that second ball battle. You notoriously win the game.
Of course, because it's better quality players picking up that second ball. Like we've mentioned a few times now, the players they've got. If Antonio's winning the flicking or Cooper's managing him to put him off his header and it's falling and it's dropping to a Ben Rama or a Lingard or a Fornells or a Bowen, they're straight on the front foot, aren't they? So it's not only losing that second ball, it's who you're losing it to. It's a high quality player in the Premier League. No matter whoever you play, it's going to be a high quality player. It's always the sort of like playmaker of the team that's playing in that 10 around the striker who's got good technical ability. You can go through all the teams in the Premier League. Like for Leeds, it'd be Rodrigo picking up that ball. Or Everton, you'd have Richarlison or someone like that picking it up. You've always got someone with quality picking it up in them areas.
Yeah, definitely. Good point. Yeah, a lot of people asking if Robin Koch can play. No, I was on the call with Marcelo Bielsa. Well, I was on the edit anyway for Marcelo Bielsa's press conference, and Robin Koch is not back. We've not got anyone back. It was a bit of a weird press conference, to be honest. It was sort of, we'll see how things go. We'll evaluate them in the next couple of days. Okay. So we learned nothing really from the press conference today, guys. I think that's the big update. We didn't really hear anything of Struijk as well. Obviously, Click came off and told people essentially that Struijk was injured. We don't know. So this is it's all up in the air at this moment in time. I think naturally with Bielsa, you find out on the day, don't you?
Yeah. With that, Connor, do you think there's a bit of not rushing them back? We know we're safe. Not rushing back. April's horrendous. Let's get them fit for April type of thing, because the run of fixtures in April's absolutely awful. I mean, we've got Chelsea coming up, haven't we, as well? Do you think there's not a rush to bring them back because we want them ready for games that we don't really want to get embarrassed in? Because let's be right. Let's be right. We've been embarrassed. We got embarrassed at Old Trafford. We conceded 4 at Arsenal. We've 3 at Tottenham, 3 at Chelsea. Without the big hitters, I don't want to be a pessimist, but without big hitters in the team, it could be a bit embarrassing, couldn't it? So do you think there's a bit of let's not rush them back into it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And just before I answer that as well, I think it's massive at this moment in time for fans, including myself, including you, everybody, to not get carried away with what's going to go on in the next couple of months, because reality, guys, we ain't going to win as many games as you think we are. We're absolutely battered with injuries. We've got some extremely tough games coming up, some very, very tough games. Yeah. The points are in the bag right now for me. We are staying, and we're staying in the division. And that's just a caveat to what you were saying, Brownie. I think it's fundamental that people don't get too down, because there could be some very, very... I don't think they're going to be something. It's going to be a tough couple of months, and I think that's something to caveat to what you were saying. But overall, I think we've got to wait. But Brownie, I wouldn't even. I mean, we know the belief that Bielsa just has in any Leeds player, but he'll know that he needs to come back and have learned something. We've seen that in the, even in the Newcastle performance, when we went there and put in a different performance. Leicester, the performance was different, and I think he does learn for the reverse fixture, and he'll know about Man United, and he'll know about Chelsea. Would I rush someone like Robin Koch in general back? Of course I wouldn't. Will he be available for the Chelsea Man United game, the City game? Potentially. If you actually gave me the option, Brownie, of putting him back in for the starting lineup against those teams, even if he is sort of 85, 90%, I'd turn around and I'd say no. I'd say, if he has to be out for the season, he has to be out for the season. We come stronger next year. We know we're in this division. We know we're going to stay in this division. But if they can come back fully fledged, what we don't want, Brownie, is when we've made all this investment in summer again, potentially kept hold of Rafinha, and we've got this diamond squad going forward into next season, and to at the start be picking up niggly, reoccurring injuries from the season gone.
From a personal point of view, Robin Koch especially, Struijk might be a late contender. From a personal point of view, from them, they've got the Euros coming up in the summer. They're not going to want to come and rush straight back into a game and break down again. He'll be going away with Germany. I mean, I know we're Leeds United, we're not really bothered about Germany, but from a personal point of view, he will be. He won't want to come back and not be ready. So there's pros for both sides to not rushing them back, isn't there?
Yeah,
we've more than held our own with the players that we're playing with. So
that's it, mate. And I think, as Andrew says here, try the youngsters like Gelhard. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily throw them into it because it's gonna, as you'll know, Brown. It affects your development. I think what I would do though is, I'm not a massive fan of. I think Roberts is a good player. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I'd give him until the end of the season to prove what he's about. If Rodrigo is in and out, we don't want him to pick anything up. If he's fully fledged and he's fine, brilliant. But if he's not and he's picking up injuries here and there, the medical team will know this, but they need to assess it. And if you give Roberts a run till the end of the season and build up his confidence, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. It's a chance, like he's just mentioned there, Gelda. It's a chance. It is a chance for these players to dip in and out of the teams. And like we go back to our, 99, 98 time, injuries meant Smith got into the squad. Kuhl ended up with a game. Woodgate ended up with a game. I mean, that was a golden generation. Not many clubs get that sort of caliber of players coming through at the same time, but it's how players get the chance.
Yeah, and I think it is important to stress, though, Brownie, finishing 13th and 14th in the Championship. It's worlds apart from finishing 13th and 14th in the Premier League, because if you do that in the Premier League, just that place, it's worth 3 million, which is massive.
It's for a new football pitch, doesn't it?
Well, it's best for a couple of them.
But, but to wrap up with the three things, the obvious one, saved it till last. Team that scored the most set pieces against the team that scored conceded the most. So they've scored 12. We've conceded 12. So it's an area, isn't it? From set pieces. I mean, in the last few games alone, they've had different. The thing for me with West Ham is they've got different goal scorers scoring them. Sometimes you have teams where it's always the same centre half scoring, and you can sort of like work it and manipulate it. Whereas with West Ham, they've had Dawson score recently, Diop. They've had Souček, Agbonga scored against us. They seem to have different...
Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson. They seem to have different people popping up with the goals in these set pieces. So it's hard to pinpoint, right, we'll put our best player on him because there's another three of them.
Definitely. And as Mick says, it's all about survival, then invest. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up at about 30 minutes. Normally, we go on for ages, but the reason we're going to shorten this a little bit is because we do have your preview out tomorrow. So we don't want to be giving all of our thoughts away here. We're going to have an hour-long preview probably tomorrow evening. So make sure you tune in there. If you have just joined us here on One Leeds, you can always go back and watch it on the playback on YouTube. It is freely available to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't ask people enough, but please subscribe to the channel. I need to start doing this more. I don't. I think it's 70% of people who watch the channel aren't subscribed, which is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. So, guys, please.
We'll have to start giving away a prize to a subscriber every month, and then that might get them subscribed. Have you got an opposition fan coming up this week as well, Connor?
We don't at this moment in time, but I can happily get one on if that is what people want to see. I thought maybe something like this, maybe of more interest.
Whatever people want, so drop it in the comments if you like to see what they have to say. By all means.
Of course. But thank you so much, guys. As I said, slap a like, a comment on the video as well. We read them all. And we will see you tomorrow for your preview. Cheers.